In October 1943, the same month the Ukurus were started, Japan began another smaller class of escorts to speed production, or another two classes depending on who you ask. These were the 745-ton C and D types. Let's get some things covered. First, yes, you heard that right, 745 tons. They were even smaller than the Shimushus. Second, prefabricated construction was heavily used along with welding to speed production, and it worked. The average construction time for them was about 4 months. This allowed them to turn out a pretty good number of these guys. It's just too bad for them they didn't start these in 1941. These were the convoy escorts they needed, but they were just too late. Third, they weren't named, just numbered. Fourth, most sources divide them up into two different groups, the C's and the D's. This was because, like the US's DE program, Japan's industrial base simply couldn't crank out enough diesel engines to keep up. As a result, the C's were fitted with diesel engines and given odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, etc. The D's, on the other hand, went down to one propeller that used a steam turbine and were given even numbers, 2, 4, 6, etc. As a result, the C's, with their funnel further back, were more fuel efficient, while the D's, with their funnel further forward, were about a knot faster. Even the D's, though, were divided up. With oil supplies drying up, the D's, completed in 1945, actually reverted to coal firing. Yes, you heard that right, coal burners. New built in 1945. Nope, we're not giving up yet. Main armament was two 120mm 45 caliber guns, one at the bow and the forecastle deck, and an open mount aft. 120 depth charges, 12 depth charge throwers, and a single 81mm mortar were carried. They had Type 22 and Type 13 radar along with Type 93 sonar. Propulsion in the C's was provided by two diesel engines, each running its own propeller for 1,900 horsepower, which gave a speed of just 16 knots. Remember, a U.S. Gato sub could do 21 knots on the surface. Propulsion on the D's was provided by boilers that provided steam to the turbine for 2,500 horsepower that ran the one propeller. This gave them up to 17 knots. Too many were completed to go over here. For the most part, naturally, their Playpen was the East Indies to Japan route, escorting convoys. Probably the highlight was CD-22, which managed to sink the famous USS Harder. Of course, being escorts, their greatest nemesi were submarines and aircraft. Subs and aircraft absolutely tore them up. The ones that survived were either ceded to the victors or scrapped.